First order of business will be to set the dates for the December meeting. The workshop meeting will be held on Monday, December 28th at 7 p.m. And the January board meeting will be held on Monday, January 4th at 7:30 p.m. Do I have a member chief from the fire department here tonight?
Good evening, Michael Pori. John wasn't able to make it tonight. He's away on vacation. We just wanted to say congratulations, everybody, and we're looking forward to working with you. Everything in the fire department is good so far, so no report.
Great, thank you. The new EQ looks good, too. Do them at the end. Yeah. Okay. Next, I'd like to bring up Kathy Mills from Culture and Recreation for an update, please.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Board. Congratulations to all tonight.
Thank you.
A few upcoming events that we have. We have the Dare Dance with Chief Osborne this Friday night at the Community Center between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. We have this coming Saturday with the Mawa Elks. We have the hoop shoot. The doors open at 11, and then the contest starts at 11:30. It's open to everybody. It's free. It's a great community event. So anyone that knows a teenager or a young basketball player, come on down to the community center on Saturday. We have ELF, the show that we do. This is the show that we're doing this year. We're going to ELF at Madison Square Garden. Tickets are sold out. That will be this Sunday for a 1 o'clock show. And then the Dare Tour Drive, with Chief Osborne, will be at the community center at the end of December. So the community center will be closed off for regular activities during those days. And one thing I would like to mention, I did notice that you didn't appoint any recreation board members. I was wondering if there would be appointments for the recreation board members.
That was an oversight. We have it, and it will be soon in the meeting, in this meeting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all that I have.
I'd like to really say to Kathy, thank you for all the hard work for the recreation staff on the parades, the Veterans Day parades, the Dare Dance, the lead, especially the Christmas Day, the Christmas parade, and the Pearl Harbor ceremony. It was outstanding. Outstanding job.
Thank you.
And I really look forward to continuing with all the recreation staff. Thank you very much, Kathy.
We do too. Thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to bring up Fred Reller, our grant writer.
Good evening, Board. It's that time of year where we have to start thinking about the Community Development Block Grant, which is the annual grant, which is overseen by the Rockland County Office of Community Development. It's federal HUD money, and last year we were the recipient of $100,000 for sidewalks and curbs along Orange Avenue, which will be done in the springtime. We've also done the facade program downtown, crosswalks, and a number of other programs that we've been awarded. One of the requirements of the grant application, which is due January 31st, is that we appoint the Citizen Advisory Committee. And that is made up of a cross-section of individuals within the community who come up with varying ideas for projects, which have to be within a designated area of the villages, as designated as low to moderate income. So this year's committee that is before the board is John Paul Molfetta, Ernie Bosco, Francis Glick, Kathy Van Sickle, and Charlie Rogers, and both myself and Charles Sawicki will be advisors.
Do I have a motion to accept the appointments of the mentioned members?
Motion to accept the appointments.
Second.
I'll make a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you. Also, along the same vein with the Community Development Block Grant, the idea that comes from the Citizen Advisory Committee has to be presented to the Village Board at the January meeting, and we have to have a public hearing. Okay? So we need to set the date and time for the public hearing, which would be the same date as the January Board meeting. So if we could do that.
So we'll set the public hearing for January 4th at 7:40. Is that correct? January 4th? January 4th. Yep. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Another item is with the Tree City USA. You see signs around town as you enter into the municipality or within the varying parks that says that Suffern is a member of Tree City USA, which is part of the, which is overseen by the Arbor Day Foundation and the Department of Environmental Conservation. We've been a Tree City USA for 2 years now. You have to put in your membership renewal every year, and you have to have certain requirements in order to do that. One of those is to have a tree advisory board, and 2 of us, our terms were up tonight, and we were appointed, Charles Barone and myself, so thank you very much. So we're on it for another 2 years. The application, though, for the renewal of the Tree City USA has to be put in by December 31st of this year. So I need the board to give the mayor authorization to sign the application that I'll be putting together between now and the end of the year, such that I can submit it to the Arbor Day Foundation.
When does that have to be done by?
December 31st.
Can you submit that so that we can review it?
Yeah, it's an online application. Yeah, you can review it, sure.
Okay. I mean, because there's going to be another meeting before the 31st.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay.
So rather than give authorization,
Okay, what's the date of that other meeting? I'm sorry.
28th,
Excuse me?
December 28th.
December 20th.
It's a workshop.
Okay,
We'll have to,
okay. I just like not to cut it right to the 31st to get the application and stuff. But, okay.
It's in the document.
Right.
The other item is I'd like to call up Corinne Kaufer, who oversees our Suffern Village Facade Program, and she's the person who's responsible for the actual implementation of the project itself.
Good evening. I'm before the board tonight with a request to award a bid for 29 Lafayette Avenue as part of the Suffern Facade Improvement Program. This project, 29 Lafayette Avenue, is royalties downtown. Has been part of the facade program since about 2013. They were originally part of Phase 2, which also included the Parking Authority building and Priya Restaurant. When that project was bid out, the bid we received specific for royalties wasn't found to be a responsible bid and was put aside, and we decided to rebid that at a later date. Subsequent to that, I rebid that project in October and did not receive any bids at that time, and so then we did a third rebid with the bids being due on November 10th. We received 1 bid at that time, and at the advice of the Community Development Office at the county, they said that we could award as long as the bid was a reasonable bid and within, the parameters and cost estimates that were provided by the architect. So we did receive that 1 bid. It was from Poly Interior Contracting. The owner is Donald Smith, who is a Rockland County resident. The contractor's been in operation for over 20 years and is a licensed Rockland County contractor. I have copies of the bid with me tonight to provide you. The bid was received in the amount of $47,250, which is within the scope of what we provide under the facade program. Under the facade program, we will fund up to $45,000. So a $50,000 project, the owner is responsible for 10%, and the village, through the block grant, funds the other 45. So on a $50,000 project, the owner would put in 5, the village would put in 45. So with a bid of $47,250, the village under the grant would be responsible for $42,525, and the owner would fund the balance of $4,725.
Who pays the 10%? The municipality or?
The owner of the building. It's a 90-10 grant, which is funded under the Community Development Block Grant that Mr. Rella just spoke of. The program guidelines only award up a maximum of $45,000 from the village through the grant. Say the project was $55,000, the owner would be responsible for the 5, which was the 90-10, plus anything over $50,000.
That's a reimbursement, is that correct, Corinne?
It's a reimbursable grant where we pay out and then we submit to the village or to the county for reimbursement from the county.
Right. Reimbursement. Okay. So we need to accept the bid.
Accept the bid so that we can proceed with,
To
having a
accept the
contract
bid.
which will be signed by you as the mayor. It's a 3-party contract between the contractor, the village, and the property owner. So upon award, that would be allowing us to execute the contract where, the village would sign, and then the owner and the contractor would sign.
Okay, so authorization to accept the bid from, who was the?
Poly Interior
Donald's,
Contractor.
Poly Interiors?
Yes.
In the amount of $47,250, with the proviso that the property owner pay 10%, and further authorizing the mayor to sign the contract on behalf of the village.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne.
Thanks, Corinne.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to introduce and have Mr. Dan Kraushaar say a few words, our new village attorney.
I've been village attorney for a half an hour, so I don't have much to report. But I would like to at least introduce myself to all of you, give a little bit of background. Been living in Rockland County since 1966, not to give away my age. And I've been doing municipal law since I was 18 years old, when my dad was the chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals in the town of Clarkstown, and I interned in the town attorney's office there and actually defended the Article 78s that were brought against him as the chairman of the zoning board and the zoning board itself. I've been village attorney in Sloatsburg. I've been deputy village attorney in Sloatsburg. I've been village attorney in Airmont. I've been and presently serve as deputy village attorney in Airmont. I'm the first deputy town attorney in the town of Clarkstown. I teach ethics to the Rockland County Municipal Planning Federation, to all elected and appointed officials. Ethics is extremely important in every sphere of life, but in particular in government. And it will be an emphasis in this village going forward. One of the things that I would like to work on is strengthening our ethics code and making it a model for Rockland County. It's certainly not without merit to say that politicians throughout the country, and lately in particular in our region, have not been the paragons of virtue that we all expect and deserve. And I can tell you in the limited amount of time that I know the members of your board, I'm extremely impressed. I can tell from the questions that I've asked the importance of ethics to them, and I can assure you that we will not be on the front page of the Journal News or anything like that with the people serving up there and with my guidance as well. I want you to know that I too will have an open door policy. That doesn't mean I'm going to represent you all for free individually, but if you have questions that relate to anything having to deal with the operation of the village, zoning and planning questions, I want to be a resource for you, and I want to serve the community well. I have done so in other places. I know the challenges that we're facing here. I did live in Suffern for a period of time, and I don't know if anyone knows Dr. Kraushaar. He's orthopedic surgeon. He's my brother. He lives in Montebello, and he's very familiar with a lot of you, I'm sure. Not that you wanted to see him or anything, but I just want you to know that further that I had the utmost respect for Terry Rice. I worked for Terry Rice. That was my first job, so I consider him a mentor, and I have a very high regard for him. And I hope that you give me a chance, those of you who feel the same way as I do about Terry. Give me a chance. I will earn your trust, I promise you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. I'd like to now call up the Village Police Chief, Clark Osborne.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. First of all, congratulations, Mayor, trustees, appointed officials.
Thank you.
I look forward to working with you over the next year to 2 years. And I'm just going to make this very quick. This is your night tonight. I just want to let you know some of the things our department has been working on. One of the things we've been focusing on lately is targeted enforcement, which is basically what we're looking at is we're going to areas that have had a lot of vehicle traffic complaints, accidents, primarily complaints from residents. I talk to residents basically every single day that are calling me, or I'm walking or stopping and seeing, and I live in, living in the community also. And we basically listen to them, go out there and address the complaints that they're having. We've had very good results with the locations we've been going to. We're going to continue that. We do that on a continual rotating basis as needed with certain locations. We've had extra DWI patrols for intoxicated and impaired drivers. We are finding a lot more drivers are under the influence of narcotics in this day and age than it's been in the past. Doing a lot more aggressive patrolling of that. On the community front, we have our toy drive, which is very big. I know a lot of you in here volunteer for it. I want to thank you for that. We will be distributing and sorting the toys on Sunday, December 20th at the community center starting at 10 a.m. You're all more than welcome to join us. We have a very good crew of people there with us volunteering. We have over 100 volunteers involved in this toy drive just to help out our local families. It's taking on a life of its own. Kathy, it was a pleasure working on you at the Christmas parade. That crowd was massive. I could not believe the amount of people we had there, which was awesome. We heard compliments for past days. Thank you. Great job. It's excellent. 7 of our officers received awards last Thursday night from the Rockland County PBA, at the Rockland County PBA Awards dinner. All of them this year, ironically, were for life-saving and exceptional merit, and the exceptional merit was also a lifesaver when they pulled somebody from an active structure fire. So we had a very good year, and I credit that, really most of it, due to the response time of the officers to the calls. And there's a reason we have lights and sirens in the cars. I always tell the kids that when I go to the schools, that lifetime seconds matter, not minutes, seconds. And just last night, ironically, I was reviewing the reports this morning, and I got a call from one of the sergeants, and she called me this morning to review a report and to play the audio back in my office of the call. And it was a frantic 911 call from a woman on Riverside Drive last night. And basically, it was from the father of the child, and I could hear the mother screaming in the background. It was a 2-year-old who was choking and had a very difficult time breathing. And I listened to the call and the radio transmissions and matched them up, and within 90 seconds, I heard the first car sign out, and he was able to dislodge Officer Mike Caswell an item from the baby's throat and got it out, to save that child's life. These are the kinds of things that are critical, and I just want you to be aware. We all hear enough negative, all of us. It's the cycle of life, the way it's going in law enforcement, unfortunately. But I want you to know we're out there every day and night with my officers, patrolling your neighborhoods, making sure that we keep everybody safe. And a call like that makes all of us realize response time is critical. I want to thank you, Mayor and Board, and our new officials, Dan and Vince. I'll be working with you guys, I'm sure, on a daily basis. And I just want to let you know I do appreciate it, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, thank you. I would also like to share a little information with the chief and thank him for all his hard and dedicated work for him and his whole police department, the whole force. You guys are always out there. I always see you out there. I would like to also thank the chief for taking the initial steps to reduce the speed limit on Route 202, which we are in the process of. I know if any of you live on Wayne Avenue, that's a major complaint of speed on 202. So currently we're working on reducing the speed limit from the village line from Montebello into the village from 35 down to 30. We're in the process, so hopefully the state will work with us and we'll get that done. I would also, speaking of Officer Caswell, great job. Great job that he, you know, I believe I heard the call come in also, and I heard the response, but great job to Suffern Police Department. Thank you. To call up Mr. Charles Sawicki from the Department of Public Works for an update, please.
Good evening, Mayor and the Board. I'd like to inform the Board that the New York State DEC required bioretention basin was recently completed, utilizing the DPW workforce. Some asphalt work is still remaining and will be completed shortly.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
And I've seen the guys out there working on that retention basin, and it looks great. It's going to be a great addition, and the DPW staff did a great job. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to have audience participation. If anyone in the audience would like to get up and say a few words. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm familiar, Mr. Mayor, trustees. I'm Stephanie Fergang Adwar, 16 Stockbridge. First, I want to thank former mayors Dagan LaCourte and Tricia Beto for their confidence in me and for giving me the opportunity to serve as acting village justice for the past 3 years. It has been a joy to work with the employees of this village and of the police department. I am honored by your confidence, and I truly enjoyed the work. I want to specifically thank, even though she's not here, Court Clerk Christine Anderson, who is one of the sharpest women I have ever met, and without her, I don't know that I would have been able to do the job. Her assistance was invaluable. I don't know how the court would run without her. You know, Suffern is a wonderful place to grow up. I grew up here, and apart from a few years, I've been here my whole life. In fact, my father was trustee of this village a long time ago. Before I served as justice, I didn't fully understand why this village calls us all back here and to raise our families again and again. But I do now. Most of the employees of this village are residents of this village. They keep our streets clean and clear the snow better than anything in the surrounding areas. They greet our residents with smiles and kind assistance, not only because that's their demeanor, but also because they're their neighbors. And our village is a safe place to live, specifically because of the dedication of our police force, a truly remarkable group of men and women. When I used to hear people complain about the fact that we had to pay for our own small police force in our small little village, I used to say, well, I like having a police force. I like having police be able to get to me quickly. And that was true when my mother was ill because they were there in seconds. But I have a different answer now. Now I can say, without hesitation, that our village is as safe as it is because of the men and the women who work in this police force. These dedicated men and women know everything that is going on in this village, and they make sure we are all safe. Apart from some of the mental illness, domestic violence cases that every jurisdiction have, really most of the crime that I saw while I sat on the bench was pass-through crime. People coming from one area to another, but not our residents. And the only reason that was caught was because we have a crack police force, and they were on top of it always. So I want to thank them very much for allowing me to work with them in the pursuit of justice. And I will miss working with you all. For the board, despite the economic issues that this village faces, this village runs very well. Our services are top-notch, our village employees attentive to the needs of constituents. What I want to remind this new administration of is that one of the strengths of this village is institutional memory. What was done in the past, how it was done, and how it worked. It is incumbent upon this new administration not to create a village bereft of memory, experience, and cohesiveness. It is what we as village residents have grown accustomed to, and it's why we live here, and it's what we expect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Andrew Dale, 28 Maplewood Boulevard in the village. Actually, the reason I'm here tonight is I just wanted to give the village board, now I know that, we have a lot of village employees and, they're out there doing great things, but when you experience it firsthand, it's really important to share it with everybody. We had a little bit of an issue at the house, and it's amazing because I didn't realize that there is a drain ferry. But apparently there is a drain ferry, and when you flush the toilet, the drain ferry takes care of everything. When you flush it and it doesn't go away, you realize that this drain ferry exists, and it actually exists with the men and women over at the sewer and the water department here in the Village of Suffern. And when we had a problem at the house, it was really nice that you could make a phone call, and within 20 minutes, you had a group of people at the house that would be able to explain to you every step of everything that was going on. And I have to tell you, when you have a certain amount of stress because of something going on already, and then you have a group of people that come over and really can kind of put you at ease, and you know that they are the best of what they do, it makes, just knowing that you have a sewer department, knowing that you have a water department, and knowing you have somebody on the end of the phone that you can call and they show up and they know their stuff, it really was, they were just outstanding. I can't even begin to tell you, during a stressful situation when they show up and their professionalism, they were absolutely dynamite. And you know what, I know that sometimes, the board and even other residents, like I said, I didn't even know what these guys do, but I tell you what, I have a full-blown respect for everything that they do at this point. It's amazing. And I just wanted to let you know that you guys should be really proud of the fact that they do a great job every single day, and I just wanted to let you guys know that. That's all. That was it.
Thank you.
Right.
I actually saw them out there today working outside your, I guess it was your house because it was all excavated.
Yeah, it was.
And I hope everything works out.
Thank you.
Thank
Like
you
you
to the DPW.
Excellent. And Bob Conklin especially. Thank you so much.
Paul Gerard, 2 Cross Street. I want to congratulate all the Mr. Markunas, new mayor, and
Thank you.
re-elected board members, new board member.
Thank you.
Looking forward to hopefully productive government going forward. I do want to also thank Kathy, outstanding parade, DPW, fire department, police, everybody who was involved. That was awesome. That blew me away. Really impressive. Mr. Markunas, I want to take you up on your offer for and your request for resident participation in helping the village get out of its fiscal situation. I know we've talked about it a lot over the past year. In fact, I've been coming here to these meetings ever since we were presented with a double-digit tax increase last year, or at the earlier part of this year, rather. Throughout the year, throughout these meetings, I'm probably not the only one that would say it. It was a pretty dysfunctional board. There was a lot of headbutting. There was a lot of opposition right down party lines, not a lot of ideas being generated. Now we've got everybody in one party. I don't know if that's better or worse, but we need ideas, and I'm a little concerned that if everybody's thinking the same way about the same issues, we won't get the best ideas out there. So I would like to offer my whatever I can do to help generate ideas, to help get the best ideas out there going forward. I'm not affiliated with any party. I never have been. I really don't think it has any place in particularly local government, but that's up to every individual. We do have this idea that's been it's been floated about the making the Village of Suffern a city. It was an idea that was brought up in the 1950s. I couldn't tell you why it was shot down then. I wasn't around then, but I know that it was resurfaced over the past year by other residents. It's something that I've been trying to keep the torch alive on. Mr. Morris approached me at the last meeting with the document of how you can incorporate a village and become a city. I've gone through that extensively, and since we have a few more people in these meetings, in this meeting tonight, than we have in the past, I thought maybe I'd kind of backtrack a little bit, but this idea was again brought up by a former mayor of Suffern, which looks at all our services. We are basically one of the only self-sufficient villages. We are the only one in Rockland County, and probably one of very few around, with our own police department, our own sewer and water, our own fire, our own DPW, yet we pay a lot of taxes to the town of Ramapo, and we really don't get much for that. We pay a total of $1.4 million to Ramapo. Every one of us writes that tax bill every year. The only thing that's material that we get out of them is a tax assessor. So the proposal has been put out there that maybe Suffern should become its own city and relinquish the burden of paying $1.4 million to every resident here. And that would be an opportunity for us to get ourselves out of the fiscal debilitation that we're in right now. So the previous mayor, previous members of the board were open to this. I just want to make sure that this idea is still alive, is still under evaluation, is still willing to be considered, discussed. I think I was given this document for a reason, to probably look into it and maybe help you guys think about it. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts or any ideas? Or?
Sure. I know that Mr. Morris spoke to you about and gave you the documentation on the city of Suffern, or becoming a city. But please, Paul, just leave me your phone number, and let's talk about it. I'll give you a call, and maybe Mr. Morris and you can get together and throw some ideas around, along with myself. I think it's a great idea. I mean, we need participation from from the village residents. Like you said, we got to start thinking of ideas, of strategies, and ways to come out of this financial distress that we're in. And that would be greatly appreciated if you want to join in and help out.
Okay, I did do a little bit of work on this, and as I said, about $1.4 million of opportunity to help us pay down our own debt. There's not all upside. There's some downside. There is a portion of Ramapo's debt that we would have to inherit. It would be about 8 or 9% of that would be ours. Okay, but we are already paying over $500,000. Over $500,000 of what we've been paying Ramapo is right now going to feed their to pay off their debt. So we are already paying a hell of a lot to them for that. Our county taxes would not change much. Our school taxes basically we have our own school as well, so that's self-contained. We would be eligible for some state revenue sharing, that currently goes to the town of Ramapo. So there's revenue sharing. There's the CHIPS program, which I think we capitalize on now, but we would have more opportunity if we were a city. Well, there are other details in here. I probably won't waste anybody's time right now, but maybe a follow-up meeting with you would really be welcome from me. And I just think we've spent the last year. There's not a lot of ideas floating around. I'd like to turn the page on last year, and let's work on getting some things done.
I agree.
I think I speak for a lot of the residents here. I don't want to see another tax increase like we saw last year. And I think that was the first step to get us out of this mess, but we can't keep footing the bill. Somebody else, we got to figure out other ways to do it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? No? Okay. Let's move on to the village clerk and the bills.
Virginia isn't here tonight. The only thing she had on the agenda was that solid waste bills are going to be mailed out on December 30th.
So the solid waste bills will be mailed December 30th. Now let's head to the Finance Department and Mr. Michael Minovic. Mr. Michael Minovic is representing the retirement plan. He's not representing the village per se.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce myself. So I'm a resident here. I'm actually on the board of the library. My daughter's here too. So I just want to introduce myself and say hello. You're actually all eligible for the retirement plan, so if you want to talk to me, feel free. I've been working with the village employees for the last 4.5 years. I think I've had a lot of positive feedback. People call me. I'm very accessible. I answer my phone pretty much every time, or call people back very quickly. So I just wanted to give you a quick rundown. It's time to think about renewing the plan. It has to be actually agreed upon before the end of this year, whether you want to renew for 1 more year. I'm an independent financial advisor, but the company that I picked for the plan originally was Hartford. Now it's Mass Mutual. They took over Hartford's business, and I'm going to give you some of the main things in the proposal that they sent out. It was in an email, but I just wanted to clarify a little bit. So the main positives are that in the last 5 years, the interest rate on the plan was 3%, which was pretty phenomenal considering the current interest rate environment. And the extension that they're offering would be at 2.75%, which is almost 3%. I think that's a very fantastic offer. Also, the cost for the investments themselves is going to go down by 25%. It's already very low from 40 basis points, 0.4%. It's going to go down to 0.3%. And it doesn't cost the village anything. This is just, it's the employee retirement plan, so it's taken out of the accounts, I guess. It's not a village expense. So I just wanted to present it, and I'd like for the village to, for the board to agree to extend it for 1 more year, and then it would go out to bid after that again. But I think with the current interest rate environments, 2.75% is it's a pretty phenomenal rate, and I think the employees have been quite happy with that. And if you have any questions about it, of course I can go into more detail, but I think a lot of people want to go home.
Thank you. I have a recommendation from our village treasurer, and it is his recommendation that the plan be renewed for 1 more year, which will avoid the time, effort, and cost of going out to competitive bid for this year and allow us to offer our employees an excellent rate of return, as you stated, and a lower plan expense. And if we do not renew the plan, we need to go out to competitive bid. So I'll make the motion of renewing the plan for 1 year with Mass Mutual on the 457 plan agreement.
I second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's a long meeting. Let's see what we have left. Okay. This is the mayor's portion of the meeting. I really would like to thank everyone for showing up today. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And I do have an open door policy, as everybody says. So you can come up to Village Hall and knock on the door and ask me any questions you'd like, and I find out the answer for you. But at this time, I would like to, I failed to appoint the Recreation and Culture Board for this coming year, the Advisory Board on Culture and Recreation. So if I go through the names, Kathy Mills, Nancy Christopher, Louis Chiachi, Barbara Codiez, Lisa Estrin, Mary Guccione, Suzanne Joyce, Lynn Lindbrick, Virginia Menschner, Kevin Patwell, Denise Schultz, Darrell Schiller, Jody Schiller, Jonathan Theodore, and Kathy Van Sickle. May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Last 2 items. Informational. I have here in front of me a request or an offer, a generous offer for any veterans that are out there that may be in need of an upcoming holiday dinner. Something that a veteran committee will be willing to donate. So if there's anyone out there that knows a needy veteran, please give me their name and we'll be able to possibly get them a nice turkey dinner for the holidays. Next item that I have, which is kind of close to my heart, is something that I've been working on down in the Squires Gate area, which is flooding. I did propose and submit to our Assemblywoman Jaffe and our Senator Carlucci. I tried to submit it. It didn't go through. But I'm going to submit the request for flood barriers again. I will be discussing this with the board further, and I will be also discussing it with Senator David Carlucci and Assemblywoman Jaffe. So this is informational. I will get back to you and give you an update on it. This time I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.